It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talks Flicks podcast. I'm your host, Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. Ladies and gentlemen, this week we're going back to school, going back to college, going back to the academy. This week I'm going to talk about Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Let me get into that first couple things. I want to give a big shout out to Battle Creek, Michigan. Got some plays from Battle Creek this past week. Gracias, gratitude, total bro. And Battle Creek, Michigan, my lady and I chose to spend our last day of 2025 in your lovely city. Went over there, we gambled, casino, had some lovely food at Clara's on the river. Give a magnificent city. Saw the Post building where they make cereal or whatever. Very lovely city, loved it, right in my own hometown. You guys are so nice to me, my lady, when visit your city. Very nice people, friendly, accommodating, very welcoming. I felt very at home in your city. You guys are very nice to us. We appreciate you very much, and we'll definitely visit your city again. So thanks, listen, guys, gratitude. And additionally, this episode is brought to you by my album called Time Shall Unfold. Its songs have recorded over the last 15 years. So this existed in fiction thing started back up in 2010, and I've been recording songs ever since. And then this part one of Time Shall Unfold is a collection of those various songs over the last 15 years. And there's part two and part three coming, but this is part one. Get out. Now, let's get on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, class is about to be in session. We're going back to college. We're going back to college the Star Trek way. We're going to Starfleet Academy. Now, if you've been a fan of the Star Trek franchise for many, many years, you've dreamed and waited for the moment that we get to see Starfleet Academy in action. Not just an episode or two, but a full series dedicated to the lovely Academy. Maybe we'll see both be. I don't know. Maybe we'll learn some things about Star Trek history. But I'm very excited to see what this looks like. Let me get into some things that I'd like to see in this particular show. Now, first of all, I feel that this Starfleet Academy, while obviously tackling the now that threats exist in that time, I think it's a good way that they can visit the past. So potentially, they could have a history class where they cover a classic history of Starfleet Academy, of Starfleet cadets, of Starfleet captains. And the body of work of all the various Star Trek shows would be up for discussion. The various missions of all the different captains could be discussed regularly in this show, where they go ahead and pick apart, analyze, study the past actions of Picard, Kirk, Sisko, Janeway, the various dilemmas, ethical things they ran into. Be a perfect way just to go ahead and dissect and give social commentary to some of these issues. I love this. I'm assuming they would do this. I mean, if they don't really drop the ball, but you have like a Starfleet history class and they can talk about the great episodes that we saw, like they can analyze, study, like they study the history of these great people of Starfleet. And of course, the holographic doctor will be there with all the information and data from all the history of Starfleet, I would assume. So it should be very interesting to see how this plays out. Also, just in general, to see how Starfleet Academy operates, at least in this time. They have a historical way of doing things. They respect the past. They build to the future. I am looking very, very forward to what this will look like. Excited. It's a new style show for Trek. I'm hoping the community loves it. Now, in the Star Trek fandom, there's various age groups in this fandom. And so trying to please them all can be a difficult balancing act. I know some people loved Discovery, some didn't. I loved it, that was great. I love all Trek, like I said, infinite diversity of combinations. But some of the old school cats did not care for some of these things. And, understand that. They love Kirk in the past, all these old school things. There's nothing wrong with that. But also, too, there's this, this is new time, new era. And shows change, evolve over time. They're going to look a little bit different than back in the day. Now, of course, I love Kirk. I love Picard. I love Sisko. I love all those guys. I watch those all the time. Watch all the movies. Love them classics. But now we're here in a new era, and we're just going to change, evolve new heroes, new characters, new style of storytelling. And I'm here for it. As I told you guys over and over again, Star Trek is my most favorite franchise on planet Earth. Now, I told you guys back in 2017 on this podcast. Wherever Star Trek went, I was going. At that moment in time was CBS All Access. If you guys remember that, you guys have been here for a long time, have been following Trek for a long time, been following the two for a long time. Remember that, CBS All Access, that's where Discovery was first at when Trek made its comeback. Remember, Trek was gone for a while. They had some movies at the theater, the Kelvin universe, but they were not on TV. They came back on TV or a streaming app or whatever at CBS All Access. And remember back then, there was a lot of conversation about the show being an app, and there was complaints, let's be real about it. But back then, people didn't realize that, everything was going towards apps and streaming. Because here we are now, years later, and even sports are going that way. The apps and streaming seem to be what's, where we're going forward. Now, it may change over time, but at least now that's where we're at. And when CBS All Access was out, and they watched Star Trek, people were complaining. And there's nothing wrong with that. They were used to the old school way of doing things. But now it's a new era, bro. Like, new things are happening. New ways of thinking, new ways of being, right? For real. So now, ladies and gentlemen, Star Trek is coming back. And we're super excited next week. It's going to be here, Academy. I'm excited. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for this. Are you ready? So get your Star Trek shirts, get everything you got to do, get ready, because we're going back to Trek next week. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I'm going to talk about this week. A short one. And until next time, we'll see. You can't make footprints in the sands of time if you're sitting on your butt. Bob Mawad. Till next time, Captain Peace.
The Captain Talks.